else out there loves to go camping in the desert, having a campfire, riding dirt bikes or razors around? Or do you prefer going out on the lake, boating, maybe a little water skiing, a little wakeboarding, inner tubing? Or do you prefer going up into the mountains, playing in the snow, doing some snowboarding? Everything that I just described is the epitome of the very first launch for Life Out There Apparel called the OG. Ironically, named the OG because it's the very first design and the original design for Life Out There Apparel. What's going on, everybody? This is Mark with episode 2 of Life Out There Apparel, the OG. Now, I literally walked up into our office at home about 30 to 45 minutes after I came up with the name Life Out There Apparel and drew this design. This design had popped into my head because I had always wanted to do a tattoo of a word with pictures inside of it, but that word never came to me to then in turn come up with a design to get tattooed on me. So ironically, this popped into my head as soon as I came up with Life Out There Apparel. So I ran upstairs and within about an hour had this design drawn up, which in fact is the staple for Life Out There Apparel. And a side note to that is about a year after I launched the apparel company, I do have this OG logo tattooed on my ribs, of course. Now, growing up my whole life, we had always had family trips, going to the desert for 3-day weekends, camping, again, campfires, riding dirt bikes, anything that had to do with off-road. For 2 weeks at a time, back when I was younger, we would go to different lakes and we would camp in banana lounge chairs under the stars, boating, water skiing, inner tubing. No wakeboarding back then, but anything that had to do with being outdoors was something that I was always involved with while growing up. As I got even older with getting into junior high school and especially into high school, we would ride BMX bikes, but skateboarding is one of the sports that I really got into. We had a half pipe in my backyard for my entire high school journey, and I literally cared about nothing else in the world than riding my skateboard on that ramp, learning new tricks, trying to just better myself at that particular sport. I worked at a local skateboard shop down in Westminster, Huntington Beach area where I grew up. I actually got a amateur sponsorship through GNS, Gordon and Smith Skateboards, and Airwalk Skate Shoes, where I would get free boards and free trucks and free wheels and free shoes. And I just thought I was all that with having this little sponsorship, which was so amazing to, a young kid that was just living his dream on 4 wheels and a plank of wood. So back in 1988, I actually entered my very first mini ramp contest for skateboarding. And I think I was the only rider that actually did not crash during my run, but I landed every trick that I wanted to and ended up winning first place in my very first competition. And I was so excited. But continuing that riding at home, it wasn't about entering contests and doing things like that. I just literally loved to ride skateboards. And that then pushed me to the love of snowboarding, which came pretty much a little bit after high school. But that was another sport that I really got addicted to up until my kids were born. But snowboarding was another very fun sport that I just love to do. So now we fast forward to 2025 right now. The love for camping and riding dirt bikes is still in my blood. We still do it as a family. I have a daughter that's 25, my son's 23. We still go to the desert. We still go to Lake Havasu during the summers, which is one of my favorite things to do. That is one of my favorite places on the face of the planet. So these are things that we've continued to do that I grew up doing. Now we get to do them with our kids, and our kids actually go and do it on their own, even without us. So it's nice to see those traditions kind of brought on and continued through our kids. So this design, the OG, is literally the epitome of Life Out There Apparel. I want to thank everybody for tuning into this episode of Life Out There Apparel, the OG. I'd ask that you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also log on to lifeoutthereapparel.com, scroll down to the bottom of the page and subscribe to our monthly newsletter. That way you stay up to date with all of our monthly launches so that you don't miss anything. And with all that said, keep living your life out there.